Magic Dad, could you build this?
Hey everyone. So this little foam sword is probably one of my son's favorite toys. I think we got 6 of them on Amazon for maybe 10 bucks. We go around and whack each other with them all the time. The dog even carries them around in her mouth. But it got me thinking about a shield that I had that my mom bought me at the Renaissance Fair when I was in elementary school. And I thought, I bet you I could build a shield on the CNC and the laser machine for my son. So we're gonna go through that today, and then at the end I'll give you a dad tip. After scouring the internet, I found a shield design that I kind of liked, modified it myself, and this is what we're gonna build. First thing I did was cut out the dragon on the laser machine, which is a Flux Beamo. It's kind of a basic level laser machine, but took about 8 minutes to cut this out on 1/8 inch birch plywood. And when I cut this one out, I actually beforehand put double-sided tape on the back. Now the reason I did that is in case people want to just buy the little images or buy the little dragons or whatever shapes I make, they can just easily paint it or design the shield that they want and then glue that on the back or stick that on the back. But later on I'll show you actually cut out another one that I'll just super glue on the back, which I like a little bit better, but this just adds for some ease for the kids if they want to do it themselves. And since I wanted the dragon to have a red tongue, I taped it off first and then just spray painted the rest of the dragon, making sure I got good coverage over everything. After the paint dried, I taped off the rest of the dragon, pulled out the red spray paint just so I could get that tongue red and add a little bit of extra detail to the dragon. Pulled it off right away, and there we go. So that's the dragon. I used a spare piece of 1/2 inch MDF, and to find the center I basically just go from one corner to the other, mark it in the middle, and do the opposite, and that gives me a good, pretty rough estimate of where the exact center of this piece is, which will help me when I set the CNC machine up to start cutting. Now when putting my MDF down, I like to use some double-sided tape at times. It helps me avoid having to use tabs. If you're familiar with CNC machines at all, tabs help keep the cut out piece of material with the rest of the material, but this allows me to avoid having to do that, and so far I've been fairly happy with how it turns out. Obviously the more tape you put on, the tighter it gets, but if you're too overzealous, it kind of mucks things up. Once I put the tape sign down, I like to secure it even more to my waste board with these little clamps. I think I bought this on Etsy somewhere. Much easier than just kind of designing it myself. And it keeps it pretty secure from moving back and forth. Now, I will say there are tons of other methods for securing your piece down on a CNC machine. I have all these little holes over here with threaded bolts in there that I can tighten everything down. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of it. I put way too many in there, but I am happy with the edge pieces to keep it secure down. After everything is taped and secured down, I go and find the center of the piece, jogging the machine to that spot that we marked earlier, and then zero off the machine to get the correct height using a probe, which I highly recommend if you do use a CNC machine. And then of course we start and run the program, and I think this took about 5 minutes or so. MDF is very fibrous, so make sure you wear a mask when you're cutting it out. Not sure if this was an upcut or downcut bit. I think it was downcut just based on how the material lays out, but cut out pretty quick, and you can see the tape left on the back there, which will just peel off and then get off to some sanding and some routing. Next thing I like to do is, because I know I'm going to paint it, is I like to use some shellac, especially on MDF, not so much on plywood or any other wood, but on shellac, because it is so fibrous and this stuff is a natural product, and it just helps keep the absorption of the paint to a minimum, and just spray on a good nice coat for here. Now, after it dried, and this might have even been the next day, I decided to go ahead and tape off the edges. And I'm using a ruler or straight edge just because I want my tape line to be kind of as straight as possible when taping this down. Making sure that I tape off the rest of it as well so I don't mess anything up. And then again, go with the same red spray paint that I used earlier on the tongue, making sure that the nozzle was clear first by testing it, and then just getting a nice even coat, hoping to avoid any sort of excessive grouping of the paint that makes it look like it's runny. That would cause problems. Taped off the other side, again, making sure it was nice and covered, as this is my second one, because the first one I didn't tape off right and got white spray paint all over the red, so I just had to redo the whole thing completely. Again, a nice even coat of spray paint, getting the edges and the top until it was all nice and done. Waited it to dry just a little bit, and peeled it off, and there we go. Using 1-inch polyester webbing, I burned the ends of about 8-inch pieces that I cut to use for the back of the shield as handles. Just needs a little bit of heat to get those frayed ends nice and tight. Now on the back side, making sure you're using your safety glasses, I laid them out and just stapled them to the back. I used 2 staples on each top and bottom, and I kind of pulled it up a little bit just to make sure there's some loop to actually get a hand or an arm in there. And it holds pretty tight, and you can see. Probably much more for a kid than an adult, but works out none the same. The last thing we're going to do is try and figure out where exactly we want to put the dragon, and you just have to play around with the placement a bit until you find exactly where you want. And then using some super glue, and I like the Loctite gel, it tends to stick a little bit better, and we just put it all over, making sure we get all the tiny little edges so it will stick down tight, and then just hold some firm pressure for a couple seconds, and then there you have it. And there was one little extra piece, which the wife said, nope. And there you have the final shield. Hopefully my son will enjoy this, help him use his imagination, go fight some dragons out in the backyard, or maybe just harass the dogs more so than he already does. Now I didn't stop there. I did decide to make some more, and did that one with my son's name on it to give him some other options in case a friend comes over, and then decided to do some blank ones as well in case a friend wants to come over and paint their own, or maybe I'll put those up on the shop. And those I used the tape on the back, and then also went with a little bit of a thinner MDF to try, and maybe I'll make something else out of that one. We'll see what I can come up with. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, give it a thumbs up or like or subscribe below. And hopefully I can give you some ideas as to projects you can do on the CNC or the laser machine, or in this case, what we did with both. And hopefully you can get out there and spend some time with your kids and enjoy your creations together, which is ultimately what my hope is to do with these. Now, for a quick little dad tip, this is my son's favorite stuffed animal. He calls it Arlo, after the good dinosaur from Disney. And this is Arlo in a bag. If we ever lose the original or the OG, then we don't have a big meltdown on our hands, because I'll just go upstairs and pull out the other one and give it to him like nothing happened. So if you've never thought of that, there you go. There's a little dad tip. And if you have, then you're ahead of the game. So hopefully you guys have a good day, and be on the lookout for the next video.
Project Dad. Could you build this?